Hey guys. So, for people who have never had a job, when you get a job, there's a probation period. Sometimes it's 30 days, sometimes it's 90 days. It's usually 30 to 90 days. And the employer can fire you for whatever reason. If you're there for 30 days or 90 days and they think that you're not doing as much as you should, they can fire you. If you're not getting along with people the way you should, they can fire you. If you're not showing up the way you should, they can fire you. If you have a job where you're supposed to work 5 days a week and you only show up like 8 days out of the month, they have the full right to fire you. But there's some young people in the world who don't understand that. They think, oh, I can just be as sick as I want, and they're like, oh, they said that if I was had a fever and this and diarrhea, I should stay home. Well, this person seems to have fevers and diarrhea and all that a whole lot. Just one after another.
I just got fucking fired from my job for being sick. So let me backtrack. I got hired on March 7th. When I had my interview, somehow I got sick during my interview and I brought home a virus. I had to miss out on training because I was sick, and they told me when I started working there that if I have a fever, if I have diarrhea, and if I have vomiting, I'm to not show up.
Which is very true. And most of the time, if it's once, they'll forgive you. It's not that, but shit happens. Being sick once in that period, shit happens. Usually they're pretty good about it. They're like, okay, yeah, not a big deal. Even if they say, oh, well, well, are you sure you'll be here for the next 30 days? You can't predict being sick. You can't. So if it happens once, they're like, yeah, you're supposed to be here for 30 days, but shit happens. But these kids, uh,
For work and to let them know. So I did that. I had a fever, told them I wasn't going to be there. I finally get my training done and I'm in the classroom and I get a stomach bug. This is like a week and a half after I got over the cold. At this point, I'm pissing out my ass. So I told them I can't come to work. I'm on the toilet. And so they're like, okay, that's cool. And so I get over the stomach bug. Just to mention though, I have 2 kids. My 2 kids are in childcare. If they are sick and can't go because they have vomiting, diarrhea, or a fever, I have to stay home with them. So if I'm getting sick and they're getting sick, we got 3 people circulating all these issues. And yeah, I had to stay home with them quite a few days when I felt okay. That happens. They seemed to understand. After the stomach bug, I caught a head cold. And I mean, these were like back to back to back. There was literally a couple of days.
So you can see where this is going. If it's one thing, it happens once, that's one thing. But for her, it's just like, as she said, back to back to back. Oh, first she's sick before, during the interview. She gets sick during the interview. Then she gets a cold. Then apparently she has to stay home a day or two to help, with her kids. And this and that. So again, they're understanding to a certain degree. Now, when I worked down the road at the factory, you'll have a lot of people say, "Oh, we'll just go to work sick." At some point, just go to work sick. They'll send you home. Now, it's best to just fucking take some Dayquil, go to work, and get the fuck over it. Because I was at work from 6:00, 6:30 in the morning till about 3:00 in the afternoon, sneezing, coughing, basically hacking up a lung, coughing or sneezing so hard that it eventually made my nose start to bleed. And not one person said, oh, hey, maybe we should have him go home. Because I remember my nose, the whole bleed started to happen around 12 o'clock because it was like right before break. So Not 1%. Oh, hey, maybe we should send him home. Nope. Nope. And if you're working in retail or fast food or whatever, get used to hearing, if you're trying to go home, get used to hearing, well, we really don't have anyone else right now, and we're kind of short staffed. So if we can give you a few minutes to take a break or something, but if we don't have anyone right now, so if you could stay, just get used to hearing that. Just get used to hearing that. So the best thing to do is take some medicine and just go to work. Just fucking go to work. Diarrhea. I mean, lucky for me, I don't work around anyone. I'm pretty much down at the area by myself. So if I go in sick, not that big of a fucking deal. It's not that big of a deal. I don't work with anyone. I'm down there by myself. Um, and if it wasn't so much with her, I would say, yeah, just stay home. Call them, like a day beforehand, because usually if you're feeling like shit, the day before, you're gonna feel it. So like on Sunday, if I feel like shit and all that, it's like, okay, most likely tomorrow I'm gonna feel like shit as well. And then when Monday comes around, I still feel like shit. But when this person seems to be making a habit of this, like, oh, I'm sick all the time. Oh, my kids, and why not just work for yourself then? Start your own company or something. Be your own boss, and you don't have to worry about people firing you, because if this is how you are with employers, like, oh, I'm not gonna be in today, I'm sick. Oh, my kids are sick. Oh, I gotta go to court. Oh, I'm sick again. Oh, my kids are sick again. Oh, they're not gonna keep you.
In between each of these sicknesses, I have a head cold now, and I have a fever. So I, again, can't go to work because they tell me if I have a fever, I can't go to work. So then, in between all of this, me getting sick, I had 2 court hearings that I had to be there for, that I had documentation for, and I sent that documentation to them stating that I had to be there because I was testifying. And so that should have been excused. I finally get over the head cold, and I get a fucking chest cold, which I have right now. Like, I still have it. And this past week, I had to call out. I went to work on Monday, and that's when I started to feel the tightness in my chest. I knew shit was going down. So then on Tuesday, I called out because I had a fever. I was really fucking sick. And on Wednesday, I went to work, but I was absolutely fucking miserable, and everybody could see it. There was people asking me if I was okay without me even having to say anything, because I was that fucking sick. So I asked to go home early. I was there for like 2.5 hours, and I asked to go home early. My boss said yeah. I go to work yesterday, and I was feeling great. I was having a good day. The trees are green. It's officially summer. Like, I was getting my bonus. All these fucking things, and I was having a fucking fantastic day. And so then midday, around 11:30, I get called to go to fucking HR's office, and she fucking terminates me for my attendance. Not to mention, I got no warning of this. I got no...
Again, probation period. You don't need notice. They can fire you at any time for any reason. It seems like it's been so. If this is current and it's like May, March, April, you've already had 2 months. They can see your attendance, and they're like, okay, well, why would we keep this person around? They've been working for us for 2 months now, and they've worked a total of like 10 days. Why would they keep you around? And just having one thing after another after another. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I gotta stay home with my kids. Oh, I got 2 court cases or court hearings that I need to go. Oh, now I got a head cold. Now I got a chest cold. Now my fucking fingernails falling off. Oh god, my split ends. Just one thing after another. They're not going to keep you around. So while you may think they're good reasons, you have to remember that you're still working for someone. If you're not performing the job as required, they're going to let you go. So clearly this place that they're working for is most likely like a 90-day period, like a 90-day probation period. Again, some are 30, some are 60. It's usually 30 to 90. probation period. Actually, I think some of them is a year. I think some of them I've seen up to a year. They'll have you work for like 6 months in evaluation, and once you get to a year, they'll kind of um, determine on, whoa, well, do we want this person to be here? But most jobs, it's 30 to 90 days, and they don't need to let you know. Even after the probation period, they really don't need to let you know. If they get tired of your bullshit, they can just go ahead and fire you. The only time that any kind of communication is required is when you're quitting, when you have to give your 2 weeks notice. But as the employer, they're not, they don't have to give you any kind of heads up like, hey, by the way, by the end of the week, we're going to be letting you go just to, so you got a head start on that. They don't have to. And if you have such a problem with it, then just be your own boss. Fucking make clothes or bedazzle clothes like so many people do, or fucking, I don't know, something where you can just make your own hours. You can stay at home with your kids. You don't have to worry about that. And you can make lots and lots of money from home. Because clearly you don't like the fact that jobs have probation periods where you actually have to show up for work. Again, if you're sick, just get the fuck over it. Who cares if you're miserable? Like, work's not... No one looks forward to going to work unless you have a fun job. No one looks... You're going to be miserable at your job anyway. Just go to work.
Talk about my attendance from my boss. Nothing. They just, oh, nope, okay, we don't want you here. You're fired. You didn't even know, you can't even provide me a solution. You can't even let me explain myself. You're the one who told me, like, how am I gonna get sick from my job and then you guys are gonna fire me over it? What? That makes no fucking sense. And not to mention, I was on time every fucking day.
So, like, the 10 days she showed up to work in the 2 months, she showed up on time. Good job.
And the one time I was tardy, I called your ass and let you know. And you said, okay.
That's the face of entitlement right there. I don't understand. It's them, not me. These employers should be more understanding. If I need to be sick like all fucking month, they need to understand that just works for me. You have these people like, okay, you need to come in at 7 o'clock. Yeah, that time doesn't really work for me. You see people, it's like, oh, you need to come in at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. Yes, in the morning. Like, what did you think was going to happen? That they would just keep excusing her? Oh yeah, sure. You know what? In fact, just take the next 6 months off. It's fine. You've already missed like entire 2 months. Just why don't you just take off some time? We'll get someone to replace you for now. Just take some early vacation. You deserve it. You live a hard life, getting sick all the time, going to court cases, and taking care of your sick kids. But you got to make sure those nails are nice and done. Gotta make sure those nails are nice and done. Bet you she's never missed a fucking nail appointment. But these fucking kids. Like, again, I'm pushing 40. Just go to work. Just go to work. Just go to work. Don't expect to be let home, to go home early, because they're not going to let you. I've had a few instances where, like at SeaWorld and stuff like that, again. But other than that, they don't care. They don't fucking care. And the more you're out, the more it makes you look bad. So even if you think it's a perfectly good reason, that's why, like, if I'm sick, I'll have, diarrhea 1 month, right? But then, like, the next week or 2 weeks later, if I feel like shit again, I'll just go to work. I'll spend most of the day in the bathroom. I'll still go to work, though. Because of where I work, I don't really work with anyone. I don't work, like I said, no one's down there. So, and nowadays, I don't really have much to do. So if I need to go to the bathroom and piss out of my ass, then because I know damn well. I mean, because I've gone to freaking to work with the flu before. It was like 4 or 5 days after I got it because I let my boss know on a Sunday. I was like, yeah, I'm getting like symptoms. I'm guessing it's the flu. So if I may not be in tomorrow. She's like, that's fine. Just make sure you have a doctor's note for when you come back. And then like 3 days later, she's like, oh yeah, if you're not here tomorrow, you don't have a job anymore. So I come to work. I'm fucking stumbling around. The two guys I worked with at the same, different times, both said pretty much you look like shit. It's like, why are you here? I'm like, because I have the flu and I was forced to be here. Otherwise, I lose my job. Um, so, and my boss was down there. I was stumbling around and I fucking was coughing up a lung and pretty much all that shit. And nope, she was standing there watching. Not once did she say, oh yeah, he's still sick. Maybe I should send him home. They don't care. Employers don't fucking care. You can get away with it once, but don't 2, 3 times, 4, 5 times a month. Yeah, you're not going to get away with it like that. You're not going to get away with it like that. So the best thing to do is just take some pills, some Tylenol for some pain, or Dayquil or whatever, and just go the fuck to work. If you're miserable, guess what? It's fucking work. You're going to be miserable anyway. So, also the sickness, with jobs and all that, it can actually work in reverse as well. I remember when I had my thing at Bojangles, the training manager, she got sick. Apparently I called, and so I go in, have my interview, got the interview orientation done. I was supposed to come in. She's like, oh yeah, wait till Monday. I'll give you a call on Monday, tell you what day, you come in. It's like, okay. So I call her Monday. She's not there. I call on Tuesday. She's not there. I call on Wednesday. I finally get someone. They're like, oh yeah, she's not here. I'm like, when can I call back? It's like, oh, you call back on Friday. And so I call back Friday. Still not there. And then the girl who was the manager was like, yeah, she's sick. It looks like someone punched her in the eye, but her eyes were swollen because she was sick. And then I called Saturday. She's like, yeah, she'll be here tomorrow. I'm like, well, if you can leave a note or something to have her call me back. She's like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I called Saturday. It's like, oh, she's busy right now. Call Sunday. Same thing, busy. And then I called her on Monday because I'm still waiting for a goddamn day to go in. And she's like, oh yeah, because you've been inactive and haven't clocked in for 2 weeks, you're automatically terminated. I'm like, you haven't been there. You made me wait a week and then you were sick for a week. I asked them for a day to come in and they said I couldn't come in because I needed you, they needed you to be there. So she's like, well, I can call corporate and see what we can do. If not, you'll have to go through the entire process again. And at that point, I just want to say, fuck you. Ha ha! Fuck you. So it causes problems. A week I was like, oh hey, I'm just looking for a time to come in. I'm just looking for a day to come in. You're like, oh, you can't. You need to talk to her, and she's a hiring manager, and blah blah blah. And then finally, when I get a hold of her, it's like, oh, you haven't clocked in for 2 weeks. You got automatically terminated. So, but yeah, just get the fuck over it. Just acknowledge the fact that companies don't give a shit. If you're sick once, that's fine. But if you're making a habit out of it, if there's 30 days in a month and you're only working 8 of those days, yeah, you're gonna be fucking terminated. You're gonna be fucking terminated. Just get over it. Okay, so start your own company, work for yourself. But the fact that this chick feels so entitled that oh, it's them, not me. I'm not doing anything wrong. They told me if I'm sick and I have a fever. But when you have it when you're sick and have a fever every fucking week, it seems, or every other goddamn day, then people are like, is it really because you're sick? Are you really sick? Or, you just not wanting to come to work. So, the way the world works, you don't like it, just work for yourself. But, yeah, it's a negative outlook. But I'm going to be 40 soon, so I don't have that bright, youthful, positivity, in my eyes anymore. Like, oh my God, the world is super fantastic and everything will go my way. No, no, the world is cruel. Corporations don't give a shit about you, and you're going to be working till you die. Just, just get over that fact. You'll be a lot happier if you do. Anyway, that's just some advice from Grandpa. You're having a hard day, I'm having a hard fucking life. Okay? Don't bring. You want to be a babbling brook? Go cry somewhere else and go be a babbling brook somewhere else. Anyway, that's gonna do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.